All right, amigos, we are on page 472, and we are going to talk about measures of central tendency. This lesson, I think you guys have also seen in your elementary schools, but if not, I will go through and review the whole thing with you guys today. Um, and you can see up on the board we've got four devices that we can use to figure out what our data means, to kind of glean some idea out of what the data can do for us or what's going on with the data. The first thing is mean, and what the mean is an average. Okay, and you want to use this average when there are no outliers. Okay, now an outlier is a piece of data that doesn't fit with the rest of the data. So let's say we were looking at ages in our classroom, and everyone in the classroom is between the ages of 12 and 14. The teacher or the substitute teacher would be an outlier because their age is 30 to 60 years old, depending. So that would be an outlier, and we wouldn't want to use the mean for that because the age of the teacher would skew the data. And so we might end up with an average or a mean that is not even close to what you would normally find in a classroom. When there are outliers, we want to use a median. What the median is the middle value. So you take all the numbers and you put them in order from least to greatest, and then you count from either end until you find the middle number. And once you find that middle number, that is your median, and that's it. That's really nice when you have outliers because they just kind of cancel each other out. An outlier is way on the one far side, so it just counts as moving one step towards the middle. And typically, when you use the median, you will find a truer sample of what the average is or what the middle number is. All right, mode is the number that occurs most commonly. And let's say we had 30 kids in our class, and 20 of them were 13. So if we were to write down all the ages, 13 would be the mode, the number that is most common. So when we look at a set of data in your assignment, typically if it's on there 3 or 4 times, that is your mode. So if we were looking maybe at Utah Jazz scores, and in their first 10 games, the Jazz had scored 91 points in 2 of their games, and then none of the other points were the same. So we had like 100, 105, 102, 90, 89, 72, and we had a couple of those 91s in there. That would be the mode. All right, and the last thing is your range. The range is the difference between the greatest and smallest value, and it shows how spread out your data is. So I take the biggest number and I subtract from it the smallest number from my data, and that gives me the range. So once again, going back to the Jazz scores, let's say that the Jazz scored 105 points in one game, in their highest scoring game. In their lowest scoring game, they scored 79. The range in that would be a 105 minus 79, and that would give us our range in data. Okay, so we're going to use mean, median, and mode as well as range to do a couple of things, and I will go through those with you. Okay, so we need to find the mean, median, and mode of this data right here. I've got 21, 28, 21, 29, 30, 28, and 32. To find the mean, you add all your numbers together. So I go 21 plus 28 plus 21 plus 29 plus 30 plus 28 plus 32. And once I've added all those together, I am then going to divide by the amount of numbers that I added together. And let me just add these up in my calculator. 21 plus 28 plus 21 plus 29 plus 30 plus 28 plus 32. That gives me 189. And I added together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. So I divide that by 7. And I got 27. Now this is the point where you can tell if you made a mistake. If you maybe missed adding one of those numbers. If your mean is really off from what the rest of your numbers are, you know that you forgot to add one of your numbers in there, or you're dividing by a number that is incorrect. So my mean is 27. So on average, out of this data set, I know that I'll get a 27. All right, the next thing we're going to find is the median, or the middle number. And I do that by by putting my numbers in order and then finding the middle. So I've got a couple of 21s. Oops. A couple of 21s. I'm going to put those in order. My next biggest number is 28. And I've got a couple of those. And then I have a 29. And I have a 30. I have a 32. Alright, now what I'm going to do is count in from the edges until I get to the middle. So I'm going in 1, 2, 3, and the number that's left, 28, is my median. Now, what would happen if I had, let's say, one more number there? So I just added my 31 on there. So if I went back through, and right here, I had to put a 31 and a 32. When I counted from the edges, 2, 3, 3, I would have two numbers in the middle. What do I do then? So what do I do if it's not just one number left? I've got two. What I need to do is add them together and take the mean of them. So I go 29 plus 28 and divide that by 2. And that'll give me 28.5. And that is your median. So a lot of times your median will just be one number, like we had before. And I'll kick that back. So we just have one number, which was 28 in the middle. But if we end up with two numbers in the middle, we need to add them together and then take the average. So that would have been 28 plus 29 divided by 2, which gives you 28.5. So that's only if you end up with two numbers in the middle when you're counting from the edges. And I think we'll have another experience with that here in a second. Alright, the mode is the number that occurs most often. I've got 21 twice and 28 twice, so I'm going to write 21 and 28, and that is my mode. A lot of times you only have one number. This time we have two. That's okay. And then finally our range. Our range is our biggest number, which is 32, minus our smallest number, 21. I just subtract those, and whatever that is my range. That's it. So those are my answers. That's not too bad. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so which one do I use? A lot of times they'll say, hey, here's a problem. Which one of these four should I use? And so I've put some vocabulary out here to the side that they'll use in the problem that will tip you off. Range and spread go together. And that kind of makes sense. Like, what's the spread in the scores, or what's the range? Mode occurs most often. Median is your middle score. And mean best describes, they'll often use, but they need to say that you need to look at the data and see that there's no outliers. So they use best described also with median, but there will be outliers with a median. With a mean, there's no outliers. So when you get into those problems, that's what they're looking for there. Alright, this is problem number 7 from your book, so if you guys want to do that with me. It says the weekly salaries of the employees of a hair salon are $1,025, $975, $823, $750, $1,400, $823, $1,000, and $823. Which measure of data would make the salary seem highest? So we need to do mean, median, and mode, and figure out which one will make the salaries look the highest. We're not going to do range on this one because range doesn't really show us a value that would be the highest. It just shows us a spread. So let's do our mean to start with. So what I need to do is add all these together. So I've got, in fact, let me just do it on my calculator here so you don't have to watch me write it all out. So I've got 1025 plus 975 plus 823 plus 750 plus 1400 plus 823 plus 1000 plus 823. That gave me 7,619, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. So I divide that by 8, and that gives me $952.38 if I round. Now that seems like a decent number that fits within the data okay. Alright, so then let's see what the next one would be, see if it's higher. So let's find the median. That's going to be our middle number. So we got to put these in order from least to greatest. So that's 750. I've got 823 like 3 times. 975. 1000. 1025. And finally 1400. Let me make sure I got all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, good, I got them. So let's mark them off as we move to the middle. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And then here's my 2 middle numbers. Now remember, if there's only 1, you're done. But there's 2 here, so what do I need to do? Add them together. 975 plus 823 and divide by 2. So 975 plus 823 and then divide that by 2. So right here for my median I have 899. That's not higher. And then our mode, I'm sure you guys already figured out, is our 823 because it occurs 3 times and no other number repeats. So which number or which device is going to give us the highest salary? It's going to be our mean, and that's what we need to write down. Write down the mean, and that's it. So that's all we're doing today. Nothing too fancy. Your assignment is going to be page 474, and you're going 1 through 18. That's it. Have a good one, you guys.